Here with David and Cameron from Gotham. I got to tell you, this was my favorite new show of last season. What is it like coming back on a show that everybody's expecting so much from in season two?
It's great. I mean, it's just it's it's great.
David?
It feels awesome. There's been so much hype for the show, and it hasn't really stopped. And so I'm very very excited to see what the writers are going to bring to season two. How it's going to be different, how it's going to be the same, and I'm very very curious.
You guys both have a very interesting past before you got to Gotham. I got to tell you, I was a huge America's Best Dance Crew fan. Dietrich is one of my really good friends, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it too from Eight Flavors. So, how did you make that transition? Was acting always something you wanted to do?
Yeah, definitely. It was always something that I wanted to do. I just didn't really know how to get into it, and then I just fell into it and and now I'm here. So it's amazing.
David, you came from Touch where you didn't really speak a lot, and now you're speaking a ton in Gotham. So, is one tougher than the other?
They're different. I wouldn't say one's tougher. They're just I think an actor lives for interesting roles, and both of them are extremely interesting roles. And so I mean, for me, no character is really difficult for me or tough. I mean, maybe some scenes, but not really a character in general, because I just like to put myself in their mind space. I just like to think of myself as them, and I don't know, that's kind of how I do it. So there's not really one tougher than the other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Cameron, I think that there's like two sides to Selena Kyle, and we got a sense of that in the first season. At first I was just like, oh, she's really good. She's helping Bruce out. And then at the end, she turned all like Fish Mooney. She's like Fish is number one, just like the movies when we see Catwoman. So do you prefer playing Catwoman or Selena Kyle, as we know her now, as a good character or as the villain?
She's both. I feel like naturally she is a good-hearted person, but she just does what she feels is right. For example, she killed Reggie, but for a very good reason, and he deserved. I mean, it's an arguable statement, but he deserved what he got, and so she does bad things out of the goodness of her heart, if that makes sense. So I feel like she's both good and bad, and I think it's going to be interesting in season two, seeing how she chooses, whether she chooses to be a quote-unquote good person or a quote-unquote bad person.
Do you have a preference on which way she goes?
No, because I like her both ways.
David, I want to talk a little bit about when you landed the role of Bruce Wayne. Did you watch like all the Batman movies, were you just like, all right, I got to be a little bit of this guy and a little bit of like Keaton and a little bit, or was it just like, I'm bringing my own thing, it's so young, I'm just going to play him my way?
A little bit of both. When I found I was always a Batman fan, but when I found that I booked the role, I did as much research as I could, got my hands on every comic book that I could, saw every movie, every TV show, and well, there's no one TV show, but saw it, and then after collecting all the data, what am I gonna do? And the answer to that is a little mixture of everything, but mostly inspiration from the writers and talking to Danny and Danny Cannon and Bruno Heller, writer and creator and director of the pilot, and just talking to them and figuring out where they want to go with the character. And that's kind of how I did it mostly, but with a little bit of a sprinkle of inspiration from the other ones.
Cameron, what I love the most is when we get those like little subtle scenes when Oswald meets like Edward just in the hall, or like when Ivy pops up out of nowhere. Do you guys get as excited as like fans do? Because every time that crossover happens, I'm like, oh my god, it's the Riddler.
Yeah, exactly. Like that scene, I forget which episode it was. Forgive me, but Bruce was going to a gun range, and as he got to the door, Penguin was like, oh, there's something weird right here. There's like something, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's Penguin and Bruce Wayne, and they're in the same area. So yeah, definitely. During the finale, I got to have a little interaction with Robin, and I got to mess with him a little, and it was fun because in the comic books, Catwoman and Penguin don't like each other. So that was fun to play on, and it was fun. It's always fun to do that.
David, do you feel like there's a pressure to sort of move the story a little bit forward? You know, like everybody's dying. I know I'm dying to see you put on the cowl and become Batman, you know, but I guess there's a beauty also in sort of finding out the backstories, which we haven't really seen explored on TV before. So do you sort of like want to put on the cape, or are you sort of comfortable with sitting back and waiting for it to happen?
Of course, I want to put on the cape. I'm dying to put it on. I'm dying to be Batman. But I think it's really, really good what they're doing and kind of taking it slow, because if you go too fast in the beginning, where else can you go? And so they're just yeah, exactly. We're gonna have a show. It'd be Batman at age 15, and so what's the fun in that? So I think it's really good what they're doing.
And finally, you know, in that season finale, Cameron, I feel like it was like a Game of Thrones episode where like everybody's dead, like, you know, so where does this go? Does this mean we're going to see Catwoman a little bit earlier? Because I feel like this is just the Oswald show and it's going to be more of the same in season 2.
I don't know where they're going. I do know that she's gonna figure out where she stands in the criminal world, and I do know that we're gonna explore her backstory, so that'll be fun. But other than that, I have no clue. I'm just excited to see where their relationship goes, and yeah.
I just feel like you're going to all of a sudden really like cats in season 2.
Oh, I have 2 cats. Yeah, I have 2 cats. One is 6, his name is Mr. G, and the other one is like 8 months, and her name is Savvy.
Which one do you like better?
Oh, my cat, of course,
Okay.
Mr. G.
Uh,
But Mr. G is more of a dog, and Savvy is the actual cat, because initially I was using Mr. G as a reference for Selena, and now that we have Savvy, I'm using her as a reference because she's way more like Selena than Mr. G is. So
Amazing.
Mr. G is loving. Savvy is not very loving.
David, just set up season 2 for me. I'm dying to know what's in that secret room in the study. Can you give me any hints? Do you know anything? Is it just more books?
I don't know exactly what's going to be down there. What I do know, it is the Batcave. Beyond that, I have no idea. I'll see when I get there.
And last question is for you, Cameron. I feel like there's a little bit of like romantic tension between Selena and Bruce. Is this going to be explored in the next season? Are we going to see a little bit more of that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Selena views him as a romantic partner. I feel like she views him more like a brother / toy. It's like metaphorically cat and mouse relationship. So I do know that we're going to explore their relationship and how it'll take twists and turns within season 2. So that'll be fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
David, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Cameron, thank you so much.
Thank you.